have the distinct pleasure of introducing our second storyteller of the night, an amazing mother, Katie Olson. I am thrilled to be able to share my story with you because when I first became a mom, I was unable to share any details about my daughter, such as photos or even her name. Like many moms, I waited 9 long months to meet my daughter. I anticipated, planned, and prepared, and I finally got to bring Bella home when she was nearly 2 years old. See, those 9 months were just a coincidence. I applied to be a foster parent in December of 2015, and after months of waiting, I participated in a training course late the following summer, where I learned heart-wrenching statistics about why children are in foster care: drug exposure, neglect, abuse, addiction. I was overwhelmed, scared, and unsure of my own abilities to meet the needs of a child who had experienced such trauma. But a little voice inside me told me to press on, to not let my own fears prevent me from helping a child who was scared and who had been brave for far too long. I'm so glad I did. After completing the training, having a home study, and childproofing the house, I was able to bring my daughter home in early September. I learned Bella had been in foster care for long enough that she would likely be searching for her forever family soon, and while her current foster family met her needs, they were not in the position to adopt. When I first heard the statistics for the number of children in foster care in Montana, I was shocked. In 2016, the year Bella and I became a family, there were 3,366 children in foster care in our state. Yellowstone County, where I lived at the time, housed nearly a quarter of these cases. I worked in a school as a speech-language pathologist and found myself wondering which of my students are in foster care, which other children in our community are part of these staggering numbers. I devoured any information I could get my hands on, and as I researched, I felt my heart being pulled to become a foster parent and eventually knew I wanted to adopt. In truth, this was not the first time I thought about adoption. When I was 8 years old, there was a girl in my class who I knew was adopted, and I remember looking at her one day and saying to myself, her mom must love her so much. She gets to take care of her every day. She chose her. And so from second grade on, I knew I wanted to be that mom. Over my school's winter break of 2015, I drove through the sleet-filled streets to downtown Billings to begin the process. Coupled with my decades-long interest in adoption, and especially after seeing the profound impact children in foster care in my own community faced, I had become emotionally invested in the process. On the drive to complete the application, my mind raced. Could I do this? Would they let me? I was a single woman in my early 30s, but I had a 2-bedroom condo, plenty of space, and lots of room in my heart. Looking back, I smile at how simple I thought it was, and had no idea what was in store. I arrived in the parking lot and walked on shaky legs to the entrance, entered the lobby, and selected floor number 4 from the panel of elevator buttons. Up I went to fill out a stack of forms. Then I went home and waited. The first time I met Bella, she was at her current foster family's house, and the nerves I'd felt on that drive to complete the application months before felt like tiny butterflies compared to how I felt now. I drove more quickly than I realized, arriving before the family had even returned home. and although it was not certain at this time that I would be able to adopt, I couldn't help but think, I'm about to meet my daughter. What a strange place to meet your child. Someone's driveway on a hot August day? Seems more fitting to be buying a cup of lemonade or attending a garage sale. As I was caught in this moment, I saw a car pull into the driveway and begin to unload two young girls. I recognized Bella immediately from the description her social worker had emailed me. Her pale hair blew in the breeze, her eyes squinted in the bright sunlight. I awkwardly jogged to meet the family, the sun's warmth comforting me in this moment of uncertainty. I smiled at Bella, and we all entered the house together. I spent the next hour watching her dart around the living room, chasing the family's cat, as I asked as many questions about her as I could think of, so I would be more prepared. Bella came home a week later. I drove to pick her up, and I found her small pile of things stacked neatly by the door. I made quick work of loading her belongings, eager to scoop her up and head home. After a brief goodbye, Bella and I set off as a brand new twosome, ready to take on the world. Our first stop was for coffee, a necessity of anyone taking on the world. And along with my cold brew, Bella got chocolate milk, still one of our favorite treats. That first day, we went on a walk, played at the park, and she took a long nap in the crib I'd purchased on Craigslist and fumbled to set up the night before. It felt comfortable and strange all at once. Our first family crisis came on Halloween of that year. I sent Bella to daycare dressed as an owl, her little diapered bottom waddling in the overstuffed costume. I was so excited to take her trick-or-treating that evening and couldn't wait to see her face light up when she got a piece of candy dropped into her bucket. That afternoon, my phone rang. And when I saw the daycare's number, my heart dropped. I answered, and an exasperated voice stammered, "Bella's having a seizure." I sprang from my chair and raced to my car. I again drove too fast and beat the ambulance to the ER. And by the time the medic crew had arrived, a few long minutes later, the seizure that shook her little body had ceased, but left her lethargic and disoriented. I learned Bella had a febrile seizure, but more importantly, I learned just that day just how much love and fear can course through a mother's veins at any given moment. I better buckle up, I thought. Our first year together continued to be a wild ride, filled with highs of hearing "Mama" for the first time, to lows of seemingly endless illness and missed work days. I experienced more gratitude and frustration than I thought was possible as I navigated my new role as a single mom who was working full-time, living in a city with no family or close friends. Bella was still having visits with her biological mother at this point, and my heart hurt each Wednesday when I would send her to daycare with a lunchbox packed with toddler-sized food items to take to the visit. I couldn't imagine how I'd survive the heartache if I was not able to adopt her. That's the thing with foster care. You feel so blessed to have this child in your life, then so sad for her that she doesn't have her biological family, then so angry that so many people have let her down, then motivated to do your best for her. It's a constant internal battle that drains you in ways I still cannot seem to find the right words for. Somehow, we made it through our first year. Then one warm August day, a year since I first met Bella, I received a call from the social worker. Bella's biological parents' rights had been terminated. My heart simultaneously broke for her and sang with relief. I could adopt her. We moved to Bozeman to be closer to family and friends, and the adoption process took another full year. And in October of 2018, I officially became Bella's mom, confirming on paper what I'd felt in my heart for much longer. I came across a quote during this time that has deeply impacted me. A child born to another woman calls me mommy. The magnitude of that tragedy and the depth of that privilege are not lost on me. The day of her adoption, my family and friends filed into the courtroom, their faces filled with supportive smiles and happy tears. Bella was in foster care for 1,270 days, but the joy of her adoption day made those long years worth it. As I vowed to be Bella's mom forever, I was taken back to the first time I saw her, the sun filtering through her flaxen hair, her eyes squinting in the sun as if uncertain about her future. It was certain now. Bella is now a spunky and silly first grader and is the best big sister to her brother Eldon. Yes, in the midst of navigating adoption, I got married, and within a year of our anniversary found out I was pregnant with a baby boy. Eldon arrived in exact contrast to Bella's journey, quickly. For the long months and years that it took to adopt Bella, Eldon arrived after spending a mere 33 weeks in my belly. It was during a routine appointment that I learned my blood pressure was high. I was admitted overnight for monitoring and given a magnesium drip in an attempt to lower it. However, as the sleepless night wore on, not only did my blood pressure continue to climb, but my kidney and liver function rapidly declined. The next morning, it was clear my body could not take being pregnant any longer, and I was wheeled into the operating room. The urine collecting in the bag from the catheter was a dark orange red, a stark contrast to the sterile white room. I briefly saw Eldon as the doctor delivered him, heard his cry, and he was promptly whisked from the OR to the NICU. I waited 29 long hours to finally hold him, as I was too loopy and nauseous from the magnesium to support my weight, even briefly, to transfer my puffy body from the bed to a wheelchair. When I finally held Eldon, I was struck by his tiny size, his skin wrinkled and loose over his 4.5-pound frame. As I held him, I closed my eyes and felt the sun's rays once again comforting me as they streamed through the window. My high turned to low when I was discharged 5 days later and had to leave my newborn behind. I was so excited to see Bella, but so sad to leave Eldon. That first sibling introduction I dreamed of for months would have to wait. He stayed for a total of 45 days as he learned to eat and breathe on his own. And for what a hurried arrival he had, he certainly took his time coming home, seeming to enjoy all of the attention from the caring NICU staff. Over a year has passed since Eldon joined our family. He's now a lively 1-year-old toddling after his big sister. Neither of my children understand their story yet. I am even overwhelmed and in awe at the thought of the sheer chance that it took for the stars to align for these two to be siblings. Then I'm grounded in the simplicity of it all. Bella and Eldon may not be biologically related, but they share an unbreakable bond rooted in the fact that they are both resilient fighters, each with their own unique story of how they embarked on the journey of life. I am humbled and grateful to be their mother and cannot wait to see the mark they make in this world. Thank you.